what's up? This is MixedByGee. I recently got contacted by a company called Sonimus to review one of their plugins. So the one I'm going to look at today is the Satson channel strip. And I'm going to run this plugin on a bunch of different sources like vocals, drums, bass, and the full mix, and see what we can do with this thing. I'll be working on a song from a talented producer, artist, Logo. The song is called Control and features the incredibly talented Becca TG on vocals on this one. So check those guys out when you have a minute. Let's dig into this thing. Let's see what happens. All right, so when we open up the plugin, first thing that comes up is sort of like a rack system that Sonimus has sort of put together. And the modules that come up are the channel strip with the fader. It's got some filters and some saturation options. After that, you have the compressor, which looks like one of the SSL style bus compressors, and we'll dive more into that a little bit later. But you have your threshold, makeup gain, attack release ratio, mix, and sidechain high pass filter. And then you have the EQ module, which is laid out very similar to an SSL style EQ with its highs, high mids, low mids, and lows, and it also has filters on it as well. And yeah, so when we look at the plugin here, you have this striking thing, modules. So if you want to add another instance of the channel plugin, or another compressor, or yet another EQ, you can easily do that just by taking it and adding it after. You can also grab them and move them around the way that you might want to, depending if you want to try different things with the EQ before or after the compressor, or before the channel thing, which is very cool. If I want to take it out, it's a simple right click and remove. You also have bypass and also automation options within each plugin. So we'll just go ahead and take that off now. And yes, take it off. On the channel plugin, from what I see here, we have the filters. When I read the manual, it said that these filters are 6 dB per octave. So that's cool. Nice and smooth, very musical sounding. After that, you have this GC switch option. Again, referring to the manual, it seems that it maintains the output, and you can just kind of drive more saturation into the source that you're trying to get kind of a vibe with the saturation. The fat button engages kind of a thicker style distortion, or saturation, I should say, on the channel. And that also has crosstalk options for stereo sources, and different crosstalk options. It defaults to modern. When I click on it, you have also a vintage thing, which we'll take a listen to on a sort of a mixed context in a bit. And then you can also just take off the crosstalk if you want. So we'll leave that to modern for now.
Said you could hold it down, yeah. So what's it all about? Yeah. 'Cause now I never know, and you keep telling me that I've got no control. I've got no control. I've got no control. 'Cause you keep telling me, yeah, you keep telling me that I've got no control. In the spaces of my mind, I feel so behind. And you, baby, here's my story. I'm not okay when I'm lonely, so please just hold me in your heart tonight. Tell me, baby, what you want. I can kick it where you are. You could hold it down, yeah. So what's it all about? Yeah. 'Cause now I never know, and you keep telling me that I've got no control. I've got no control. I've got no control. 'Cause you keep telling me, yeah, you keep telling me that I've
So just kind of going through a few settings, stuff that I would normally do on vocals. Kind of a bit of a faster attack and release to just kind of grab the vocal when it's coming through. I mean, at some points I was pinning it all the way down, and it still sounded pretty good. So that's neat. I left it at the 4:1 ratio for this particular example, and it's grabbing it really, really nice. I want to try a slightly more extreme setting just to see how far I can go with this thing. But overall, it's cool because I've used the SSL bus compressors for many years, and it's a little bit different. I think the variable attack and release make it so it's a little more flexible. And it's not. It's, I guess, maybe a little less colorful, but in a good way. It's a bit more transparent with the compression so far that I'm noticing. So that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna take this like higher section here of vocal, and I'm gonna go a little extreme with the compressor and see how far I can go with this thing.
Yeah. Baby, here's my story. I'm not okay when I'm lonely, so please just hold me in your heart. Yeah. Baby, here's my story. I'm not okay when I'm lonely, so please just hold me in your heart. Yeah. Baby, here's my story. I'm not okay when I'm lonely, so please just hold me in your heart. Yeah, yeah. Baby, here's my story. I'm not okay when I'm lonely, so please just hold me in your heart. Yeah.
Pretty cool. I'm shocked. It's not. These aren't really settings I would normally use, but just to go over it, like 10:1 ratio on the compressor, it acted a little more alive as I opened up the attack on this one. So kind of a slower transition to that full gain reduction, but still really cool that you can drive it like that and get a rather usable result. So I'm digging a compressor, and like I said, the sort of transparency grab that it has is nice. I'm super into it. Let's try the EQ on the vocal here. Let's see what we can do EQ wise. Actually, one thing I want to mention that on the channel, I said that the filters were 6 dB per octave, which is cool and nice and smooth. On the actual EQ, though, more like an SSL, it is a 12 dB per octave situation. So depending on where you want to go with your filtering, if you want it to be a little smooth and more gradual, take the channel filter, and then if you want it to be a little more aggressive, then go with the actual EQ filters. So let's give them a try. Let's see what we can do with this.
Let me know if feelings mutual. I can't get by on my own. I feel like I've been running round again, so let me know if feelings mutual. I can't get by on my own. I feel like I've been running round again, so I can't help it.
Just on that example, you saw I went pretty high on the low cut on the channel, and it was like a lot smoother. I can go a lot higher without sort of like altering the sort of like body of the vocal. Whereas with the channel one, a lot lower in frequency, and then you start hearing, kind of what it's doing to the vocal. We're gonna leave it on the channel because I kind of like that tail off a little more. And let's get into these settings here.
Let me know if feelings mutual. I can't get by on my own. I feel like I've been running round again, so I can't help it. Let me know if feelings mutual. I can't get by on my own. I feel like I've been running round again, so I can't help can't get by on my own. I feel like I've been running round again, so I can't help it.
Let's see. All right, nice. That top end is very, very smooth. I was a little surprised actually. I was expecting sometimes with these types of EQs it gets a little harsh in the top end, but here just that boost I did was very nice. Another thing I want to mention too is the Qs are set in percentages instead of the normal sort of like Q factors that we have on EQs. From the manual, although I find it quite intuitive, but because I'm used to these types of things, but going to the left, lower percentage, it is like a tighter Q, and then as you go to the right with a larger percentage, it's a wider Q. So depending on how you know, like what it is that you want to do, if you're trying to subtract some resonance and stuff like that, you're going to go tighter. If you want to sweeten out or fill out certain things on the frequency range, then you're gonna go a little wider and stuff like that. So let's hear it on a part that's a little louder and see how this translates.
'Cause I know I never know, and you keep telling me that I've got no control. 'Cause I know I never know, and you keep telling me that I've got no control. 'Cause I know I never know, and you keep telling me that I've got no control. 'Cause I know I never know, and you keep telling me that I've got no control.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great. And last, something I didn't mention, but as with most SSL style EQs, the highs and lows have an option to switch. They're by default a shelf type EQ, and they have the buttons to switch them to bell, which could be useful. And also, forgot to mention though, but there is a phase switch on the EQ, which can be useful. I do like to check how what I'm doing EQ wise affects the phase by flipping it and seeing it. So let's actually take a listen right here.
'Cause I know I never know, and you keep telling me that I've got no control. 'Cause I know I never know, and you keep telling me that
Keep it off, but still sounding. It can be useful. Multi mic setups like drums too. This is like an ideal plugin to sort of spread out on your different tracks, so you have that phase option. Cool. So far so good. I like it on the vocal. That sounds good. Let's move on. All right, so let's move on to another source. I got some drums here, and I have the Satson channel strip on the drum bus. So let's see what we can do with this tool here. So let's loop up a section here where the drums are happening. Let's take a listen to the drums, see what they're doing. So they already sound really good. Love it. Let's see if we can help them sort of vibe a little bit more with using the Satson channel strip. So I'm adding a little bit of drive, and it's kind of cool. I find that we're losing a little bit. However, there are some oversampling options here. So let's kick it up to 4x here, and let's see how that saturation. Maybe it's going to help it a little bit, kind of give it a little bit more of what we're looking for here. So let's try that. So much better. I think the 4x oversampling, it's very subtle, but it just kind of retained a little bit more of like sort of the oomph in the bottom end and stuff like that. Let's give the compressor module a swing at these drums. that's really cool. It's kind of gluing things a little together, but it's kind of moving the groove in a very musical way. So I like what this compressor is adding on the overall group of the drums. And let's see if we can sweeten it up with a little EQ action here. So let's check it out. So that sounds great. That was really easy to get to. Just instinctually, I just, added a little top end just to kind of make it shine a little bit more, and a little low end and stuff like that. Never got too boomy even on more extreme settings. And just a little mid to kind of fill it in and stuff like that. And that's right now it's working. We'll see in the context of the song, but it's as a start off point, amazing actually. All right, let's try this thing on the bass. I got the bass looped up. Let's find that. All right, let's see how this goes here. All right, so it sounds great. Not much to do on this, in my personal opinion, but let's see if we can't just like tighten it up a little bit with the compressor, and maybe add a little something to the bottom end to make it like just a little bigger sounding and stuff like that. So let's start off here. So again, really quick and easy to use. It's not doing like, I'm not over compressing or anything like that. The sound already has sort of like this like side chain sort of bouncy feel, so I don't want to lose that by over compressing it or anything. But just adding a little bit of movement with the compressor, and then tweaking the EQ a little bit, I got something in conjunction with the drums that's like really working just right off the bat, So that's awesome. So what I'm finding with this tool is that I'm getting usable results really, really fast. So that's really interesting and useful for anyone trying to just kind of keep it moving while you're mixing, not trying to overthink the process too much. So this particular plugin is very conducive to just kind of working fast and getting through the sources that you have. I want to try it on one last thing, and that's the mix bus, because it is, it has that like classic SSL bus compressor thing, and I want to hear how that sounds like on an overall, and see what we can do even with the EQ and the channel to see like, how it's going to put everything together, and if it's if I get results as fast as I did on the other sources. All right, so I got one on the mix bus. I got the whole song playing. Let's roll it, see what we're going to be dealing with, and then let's try to see what we can do with the plugin.
Oh, said you could hold it down, yeah. So what's it all about? Yeah. 'Cause now I never know, and you keep telling me that I've got no control. I've got no control. I've got no control. 'Cause you keep telling me, yeah, you keep telling me that I've got no control. Said you could hold it down, yeah. So what's it all about? Yeah. 'Cause now I never know, and you keep telling me that I've got no control. I've got no control. I've got no control. 'Cause you keep telling me, yeah, you keep telling me that I've got no control. Said you control. I've got no control. I've got no control. 'Cause you keep telling me, yeah, you keep telling me that I've got no control. I've got no control. I've got no control. 'Cause you keep telling me, yeah, you keep telling me that I've got no control. I've got no control. I've got no control. 'Cause you keep telling me, yeah, you keep telling me that I've got no control. I've got no control. I've got no control. 'Cause you keep telling me, yeah, you keep telling me that I've got no control. I've got no control. I've got no control. 'Cause you keep telling me, yeah, you keep telling me that I've got no control.
All right, so just playing around with the compressor and the channel plugin here. From the compressor, I kind of went with the slowest attack and the fastest release. I have the sidechain on, sidechain high pass filter, just to not like affect the lows too much, not have like the kick drum dictate the compression. And yeah, kind of dialing in a fair amount there. It's hitting 2-3 dBs of compression. I'm liking what it does. It's putting the mix together. It's gluing it a little bit. And again, that sort of like transparent sort of grab that it does. It doesn't make me think of an SSL, like a bus compressor, but it kind of does in the same way, because the grab feels like it's doing something familiar, but at the same time, it's just clear and, for lack of a better word, like musical, I guess, how it's sounding on the overall mix. And then I played around a little bit with the channel settings, because I wanted to give these like crosstalk options a go. And so just kind of adding a little bit of saturation, which helps a bit in the excitement and stuff. And then just scrolling through the crosstalk options, I couldn't tell you exactly what changed, but there is a difference. Like I hear it, as subtle as it may be, between modern, vintage, and the no crosstalk. And I landed on vintage. It sounded good, and without trying to overthink too much while working. If it sounds good, usually it is good. So that's that. I'm gonna give the EQ a little go on the mix and see. This isn't the type of EQ I would normally strap on my mix, but let's give it a try and let's see what happens.
Cause
I mean, very, very usable results. I can't really say anything bad about the sound. It's not aggressive. I was just kind of sweeping through some ranges on the mix. Again, not something I would instinctively do by grabbing this type of EQ, but I mean, just playing around with it, I got a very usable result again. So overall, like very, very useful on a bunch of different sources, and including the mix. I like it quite a lot. So that was the Satson channel strip by Sonimus. Like I mentioned while I was working on the examples, I find it very intuitive, very quick to get results. The sound is good even on extreme settings. And I think anyone looking for a channel strip or something to work on their buses, I think most people would get along with it because it's just easy to use and it sounds really, really good. So go check them out at sonimus.com and on all the various social media platforms, and check me out at MixedByGee.com and all the social media platforms as well. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll check you later.